Wednesday to you. You know, anytime you're facing a tempo team like we are, and I look at them from last week and you see them put 88 plays up against Arizona State, I think one of the most critical situations is being able to get off the field on defense and keep your drives going on offense. And it was very similar to the Cal game. I look at what Oregon did last week and was extremely impressed defensively, how they made some personnel changes on third down, actually putting 4 speedsters on the defensive line. They actually put 3 defensive ends and a linebacker on the field as the 4 down, and really got to the quarterback. Got 3 sacks on the day and 5 hurries. So it's going to be imperative for us to have the type of day like we had last week. You know, as a 60% efficiency versus Cal. You know, I look at Oregon, and they held Arizona State 4 of 13, and a lot of it had to do with getting to the quarterback and supplying pressure. Defensively, it's imperative, I think, to get pressure on this quarterback on third down, whether it's our 4-down rush or whether we're bringing pressure. I look at what Justin did last week, and you see him sit in the pocket, and he pitches it for 489 yards. If you don't hit this kid, you're going to have a long day because he can distribute it. Injury-wise, Lockett, obviously, another day out. It's looking a little bit more doubtful there. Justin Davis got to run again today, about the same. Hopefully we'll start doing some change of direction here soon. Said we held out for an ankle sprain, and Mike Hutchings got a little bit of a tight calf, so we pulled him from practice, but expecting him to be back hopefully in a day or so. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you got.
On Saturday, were you watching the other games in the conference?
Yeah, I did. You know, having an off day, basically had my laptop going, watching Oregon film, watching the Oregon game, and watching some other games. So it was a nice day to watch some ball and really play kind of some situational football in your mind. There were some really neat situations that came up in the Utah-Washington game that as a head coach, you put yourself in those situations and you say, what would you have done in those? So it was pretty good training for me to be able to watch some other games and see guys do some things and make some critical decisions at certain times.
Did you find yourself agreeing with what they were doing?
I saw one. I actually had 2 learning lessons for our team. One was a decision making in that game where it was 3rd down and 6 going in. Utah has the ball. They actually get a stop on the 3-yard line, and the Washington defense is kind of barking at the quarterback, and all of a sudden it's unsportsmanlike conduct. It gives the offense a 1st down, and instead of a field goal, they actually get a touchdown. The next situation was right there at halftime, if you remember. I thought it was a neat situation. You know, they don't make it's 3rd and 5. It's a great learning lesson for the quarterback. No timeouts. He pulls the ball down in that situation with no timeouts. There's about 21 seconds on the clock and doesn't get the 1st down, so the clock's running. Well, in that situation, you really want to substitute. They bring their field goal team out. You really want to have the opportunity to substitute your block team, because what happens? The Iron Cross comes out. Washington left their defense on the field, and they were able to get the kick off in about 1 to 2 seconds left on the clock. So it was neat to put yourself in those type of situations and really think about how can you save points, both in decision making for your players and decision making for you as a coach. So it was a good day for me.
Well, how did not having Cam last year against Oregon for you guys?
Say it one more time.
Last year's Oregon game was the first year after Cam was injured. How did not having him? Cam's been.
Yeah.
Not having him.
I think anytime that you lose a player of that significance, you know, especially an interior linebacker that's had so much training, you know, when you lose him, it does hurt. You lose that rock in the middle, and you know, right now we've got Mike and Cam playing really good football, and when you lose that guy, yeah, obviously it's going to hurt you, and hopefully the next guy steps up. We did not have too good of a game last year against it, so I would say it had to hurt us.
The first time Clancy came here, like in 13, people talked when he was hired that he was going to help defend the spread offense, and when he was at Cal, he did some stuff against Oregon that worked. What about that defense?
Not to go into too specific of game plan mode, but you know, one of the things I appreciate about Clancy is he takes every team for what it's worth. and he throws a wrinkle in each and every week that you just not anticipating, and he's formatted it probably weeks in advance, and you know, to the point where you have to prepare for something and you're going to have to make an in-game adjustment because you haven't seen it. You know, our guys have trained for it, but you haven't seen it yet as an offense. You know, and I appreciate about him. And he just doesn't run the same defense. He basically, I love what he does. He picks your strength and tries to eliminate it and makes you play ball in other areas. And that's what a good coordinator does. And I've seen it not only the first time he was here, but now. I think every week he's gone in to try to eliminate your strength.
You were talking yesterday about how a lot of teams have adapted and become more like Oregon offensively. Are they still at the point where if you stripped off the numbers, you'd be able to tell us an Oregon team? Are they still doing things that are not differently?
Yeah. The one thing that jumps out at you about Oregon, I think, is when you see Oregon on tape, you just feel the speed. Without question, you know, over the last 7 years I've been here, they've always been the fastest team we've played. You know, whether it was DeAnthony Thomas or, well, now you got a Charles Nelson, you know, you got a Tony Brooks James, you got guys that just can fly. And, you know, that it's always been a trademark by them. They've always carried speed at the skill positions, and it's something that has helped them with their outside zone running game that they've carried for the last 7 years. But they're doing very similar stuff that they did with Chimp. Mark has thrown some own wrinkles of his own that are pretty dang good wrinkles. And you look up and they're leading the league again in rushing, which they've done for the past couple of years, and doing a nice job offensively. If it's not for some injuries on defense, they're probably looking up, and they probably are 6-2 right now.
What have you seen out of Virginia Harris that shows that he can take on more of a primary role, especially with Locke being hurt?
We knew coming out of high school, he kind of reminds you of how Adoree was. He was an offensive and defensive player. You know, he played quarterback, he played wide receiver, he played cornerback, and you just knew he could be a two-way player. He's so football instinctive and football smart. He's what we call playbook smart. He can pick up a playbook and have it diagnosed in a matter of days. And you see it. He's making plays. He's making plays in each and every game for us, and hopefully will continue to do that. But I think his football instincts are his greatest asset.
Marvell had his first pick of the season, his first pick ever last week. How impressed have you been by his contributions, especially, you know, as a young player?
Yeah, I was impressed with the two-toe tap. I mean, he did it the right way. You know, when I think of Marvell, you know, the two things that stick out to me are, one is physicality, and two, his ability to cover ground. We call it range. You know, he's just has tremendous range to be able to get to the defender, whether it's in the pass or come up and be run support. Very physical, and is playing good football. I think all three of our safeties right now, when you look at it with that combination of Leon, Chris Hawkins, and Marvell, have done some really nice work over these last 4 weeks. Thank you guys, appreciate it.